Hey everybody, P.D. Turner from the Break It Down Show, doing today's introduction for a friend of mine, Chad Prather. Chad, you can, well, first off, follow Chad at Watch Chad, kind of funny. Chad Prather is a comedian, has his own show, and is a bit of a YouTube star. Maybe you've seen his pictures, the Texas guy with a cowboy hat, dog in the back seat, doing videos from his truck. Well, he has continued to grow and grow and grow, and is now a national touring comedic act. Plus, his podcast, which you can find on YouTube under Watch Chad or Chad Prather Show, part of the Blaze Network. It's just so awesome. He's so hilarious. He's a humorist, kind of likened to Will Rogers, where it's sort of observational comedy. And you ever wonder why kind of thing? Chad's great. I've met him, hung out with him quite a bit. Also, today's co-host, Scott Huesing, my connection to Chad. The three of us just have a great time. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget Party Foul Steve. Steve is Chad's right-hand man. He's always on the Chad Prather Show. He's also always on Matt Locke's show. They have a regular thing they do, I think, on Fridays. Either way, look, these are great guys. A lot of fun to hang out with Chad, with Steve, and of course with Scott. We always have a great time. So you're really going to love this show. It's Thanksgiving week. I just want to be thankful for all of you listening. Here's how you can support us. Subscribe, rate, review. Send me your picture. I'm doing this fan graphic. A bunch of you have already sent pictures in. I am totally excited to do this with all of you, to create this more fan-centric approach and get ideas from you all on producing episodes. You want to produce an episode? Let me know. Who's your all-star out there? Who's your big connection? Well, let's do it. Let's have that person on. You want to co-host? Let's talk about it. Let's get it done. Save the Brave. Here's how we can all work together. Every time you share a Save the Brave post, every time you like it, every time you donate money, time, your expertise. It's like a regular corporation. We need people that have specific skills. If you've got a skill that you'd like to donate in your spare time, I mean, you think about this, 5 hours a month. What could you do for this charity with your expertise? Are you a marketer? Are you a salesperson? Are you connected to a lot of people that have big charitable foundations? All of these things count. You can donate your land. You can donate time. You can donate your presence. You can donate your social media presence. All of these things help us lay a foundation so that when we go out, we can build an even more powerful organization that helps even more veterans deal with PTSD. All right, enough about that. I swear you're going to love Chad. He's such a great guy. I cannot wait for the next time that I get to sit in the same room with him because it's just such a joy, and I want to share that with all of you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a great week. I'll be back at the controls on the 2nd, but the show will not miss a beat because Damien has us covered. The Macedonian Mafia is out there doing their job. Here's Chad Prather.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland. This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hey, everybody, this is Chad Prather, and you are listening to The Break It Down Show.
And now, The Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Shot on video live in a hotel room like a porno.
Yeah, I bet you in this part of California, a lot of these hotels have been used for shady purposes. Did you hear that when California, they outlawed you couldn't make porn without a condom anymore? So that all the porn industry moved to Florida. And so now they'll have like these FBI raids in these houses in Southern California where they shoot porn. And it's like a condom check.
That seems a reasonable use.
No, it was on the ballot. It was just recently.
Yeah.
Really?
It was like 2 or 3 it was a proposition like Prop 69. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, it was.
Yeah. And I like when they don't think through the writing of the bill. So like it goes through and it's law. And like all little league kids had to wear a cup, and this girl's a catcher. And so she's like, I don't need a cup. So she would quote unquote wear it like on the outside of her pants, like on the side of her leg, because she's like, I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
I'm not a dude.
It's an accessory.
I don't like to get too political. You do. But I voted no on that prop. What would your vote be?
Well, okay, so I've got a friend of mine. I'll give you the long story. A friend of mine.
It's a yes or no question.
I would vote no. I mean, have at it, man. Kill yourself. Knock yourself out. I don't care. I don't use
You
one.
sound like a politician. Let me give you the long story.
No, it's the truth. My friend Adam Kukulich, if you Google Ryan Driller, he's one of the top male porn stars in the industry, right? And if I'm over in West Hollywood or whatever, he'll come over and we'll have a drink at the Mondrian. and he'll start telling me stories like they shut down the industry. The last time I saw him, they were shutting it down for the week because these guys, they have to get HIV tested constantly.
Yeah.
And somebody tested positive. Well, then they have to go through and see who all that person has slept with, who they've worked with, and all these things. And so it just shuts the whole industry down with this thing. And he said, so we're on a pause, blah, blah, blah. But then we went across the street to the Comedy Store, and they were doing some open mics, and all these girls were coming up and hugging him and stuff. And they were there doing open mic comedy. And I was like, how do you know her? And he goes, well, we worked together. And I said, that means you fucked her.
Yeah.
They're like, you screwed her. Like that. That's exactly what that means. You had sex with that person. And he's married, which is creepy. Like, how do you maintain that marriage? Yeah. Like here's some pictures on Instagram from The Office, and then here's us at Disneyland.
Here's our Christmas party.
Yeah.
The vivid Christmas party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
There's
you
your
ever
wife.
been to that AVN show? Have you ever been? No?
No, because I heard it's super boring.
With your vast repertoire.
I heard it's just super boring. Like I think people go there with a false expectation that it's just going to be one big porn show, and it's not. It's an industry show. So
Yeah.
you're going to walk through. Like if we go to SHOT Show, we're looking at gun paraphernalia and stuff like this. You go out there, you're looking at vibrators, and you're looking at swings and all this stuff. And then they do the awards,
What's
which
party
is
foul brows at that show?
I don't know. Party foul. You're not a.
I'm not a porn guy.
You know?
I have a very short-lived porn career. No, I mean short. It was really quick. It was
He's talking about his
and short.
dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I should introduce the Party Foul. Steve is here also
Yeah,
from
Party
Chad
Foul
Prather
Steve.
Party
Show.
foul.
Is your microphone working over
P-
there?
I
Is
guess
this
it
thing
is.
on?
AF. That's right.
Yeah, we didn't even practice that.
I know.
My buddy
It's gonna be a huge brand.
in my little
It really is.
text chain thing, he said he called them rubbers, and I'm like, holy shit, I haven't said rubbers in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a way better word. It's way funnier. You know, it's like saying humping instead of sex. I'm going to go hump someone, but I need to get some rubbers first. Like, it's just way more enjoyable.
It's like your mom could see the imprint in your leather wallet when you were a teenager, and she was like, "What is that?" Oh, it's a wooden nickel.
I had a
You know?
Velcro.
I still got one.
Wallets? Those
Oh
were
yeah,
sweet.
Those were. I had one of those too. Then you had the Velcro shoes, the Roos that you could had the little pocket on the side. with
zipper on it.
It had the zipper.
Kangaroos.
You could put your quarter in there in case you ever had to make a phone call.
All that stuff's coming back too.
It is, man. The '80s are coming back. They are back in a big way.
I love seeing kids when they wear like the Ramones shirt, and I'm thinking I've seen them 3 times.
Yeah.
I
They were alive.
Yeah, I love it
alive.
when I'll go do some little theater somewhere across the country doing the comedy show, and Air Supply was there the night before, and I'm like, they're still doing this thing. They're still there, and they're still going at it. Like, at what point in time do you say enough is enough?
When you quit making money.
I guess.
I mean, so this will shock you. Like, if you look at female rock stars, we have a lot of musicians on the show. You know, I say like Joan Jett or Debbie Harry or Susie Quattro. If you rank ordered those, you might put Joan Jett first, maybe Debbie Harry. Susie Quattro has sold 50 million albums.
It's crazy.
50 fucking
Joan
million.
Jett's touring right now. I was
Yeah.
listening to terrestrial radio on the way up here.
Yeah,
and
Debbie Harry
like,
just wrote a book.
Stand by for Joan Jett ticket giveaway. I'm thinking, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Debbie Harry this summer. And so they're out there because they're making money still.
God, I had a massive crush on her when I was a teen.
Debbie Harry?
Oh, she was so hot. Blondie for.
Oh God, she was super hot, and then she exploded. She blew up. Whatever that thyroid thing is, I guess. I'd assume because I'm thinking Debbie wasn't eating that much, but good God, I can relate to that because if you don't have the songwriter revenue, see that's the thing. People, the mistaken perception is that if you're out there and you're singing these hit songs and it goes number one, that you're going to make a lot of money. Not if you didn't write it.
Right.
Not if you didn't write it. You have to make money off of ticket sales and merchandise sales. Yeah. That's why I tell people go to partyfoulnation.com and go to watchchad.com, buy merchandise, get out there and go do it, and come to a show, buy your ticket, and then buy a T-shirt. I had a girl that came to me. I tell this joke. I said, I get this lady who came to me and whispered in my ear. She said, I'll do anything. I'll do anything for a T-shirt. And I mean anything.
Hey, this is P.J. Turner from the Break It Down Show, checking in real quick to ask you this. John, Scott, and I all support Save the Brave with our time, our location, our effort, and our money. Each month we give a small amount. Do the same with us. Go to savethebrave.org, click on the Donate tab, pick an amount that you want to come out each month, and they will handle all the rest. I stand behind these folks. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the show.
I tell this joke. I said, I get this lady who came to me and whispered in my ear. She said, I'll do anything. I'll do anything for a T-shirt. And I mean anything. I said, well, go give Party Foul $30. I've had enough blowjobs.
You should have said give him $100.
I like money now. I'm 46 years old. I got a wife, 3 dogs, a cat, 5 kids, and a vasectomy. That's the best $25 office copay I ever spent. You can put this shit anywhere now. Paint the walls, man. I'm not worried.
Unless you're that one dude who manages to blast through it and grows it back, and at 52 is like, what do you mean you're pregnant? It ain't mine, and it is.
It is. That's a scary thought because I don't want any more kids, especially, but I told my doctor, I said, look, I want to be clipped, clamped, stapled, barbed wired, landmine. I want it like getting into Guantanamo Bay. Yeah. I might have a Rhodes Scholar down there knocking on the tubes trying to get out, but I'm sorry, kid, you missed your shot. Literally missed your shot. So I want you in the nut, kid. Don't you be coming out, because that is a scary thought.
You can go by a microscope and slides. Remember when you were 7th grade in science class?
I see if they're moving. You can't do that, Steve. You're making stuff up.
Like jacking off
Why
on
can't
slides.
You do it? No, I haven't done it yet.
Whacking onto a...
Maybe I should.
Most kids are whacking off to their dad's Playboy collection. He's jerking off in a microscope.
Steve's got a chemistry set.
I wonder what my sperm looks like. Mom, come look at this.
I wonder what would happen if I set it on fire or put it over a Bunsen burner.
Squirm, you bastard. Squirm.
What's on the stove, Stevie? Mom, I'm boiling my sperm.
We're burning kids. Oh, Did you see there was a recent headline, God, where was it, that said, oh my gosh, where was it?
That's a great bit.
I know. It just came out last week, but it was more of the same nonsense about these third wave feminists that were talking about how men are just as guilty of having abortions every time they ejaculate, if they're masturbating or whatever, because they're killing kids.
I've killed millions and millions.
Billions, son.
Billions.
The world's gone crazy, dude.
What is she, like a
nonsense
feminist Catholic? I mean, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
I know. Well, again, it's the whole thing of defining. Like, for instance, I saw on Twitter where this lady comes out and she said, biology proves it's not an unborn baby, it's a fetus, it's an unborn fetus. And I retweeted that and I said, but nobody's ever been to a fetus shower. Nobody's ever had a fetus reveal party.
Right.
That's gross.
Yeah.
That's just stupid rhetoric. It's crazy, the world we're living in. But I do love using the word rubbers. Isn't that great?
Yeah, rubbers.
That's a good throwback. Where's my rubbers?
Yeah. Then you get me a box of rubbers. You guys got, now that you're an adult, you can walk into CVS and go, hey, where are the rubbers? And then just let it hang there and let mom worry about it. Like, oh my God, hide the kid.
Cleaning supply aisle with the latex gloves.
I saw somebody the other day, there was a picture that was online of somebody who had made basically a suit of clothing out of condoms. They had done it with in the package.
Were they ribbed?
And put
He's wearing a vest.
Only wearing a vest.
Pinstripe suit? Like you
Yeah.
got the ribbed? I'm no fashionista like you. But.
No, well, people have lost their minds. I think people have always been crazy, but now we're exposed to it because of social media. It's just
But
out
you
there.
swim in the deep end of crazy with these people, too.
Really deep.
Yes. Yeah.
Really deep.
You're on the high seas of whack jobs.
I see the worst of the worst. And then our friend Jason Buttrell. Jason's a Marine. He's an investigative guy for Blaze TV, and he basically gets into the dark web and finds all this crazy stuff that's going on. And like if the FBI or ever, give me some of that Chianti.
Is that
what that is?
It is. Yeah.
It's good. That by
It's good, Steve.
For
It
the
ain't water.
listeners, Ponte Winery Temecula. So we go down to Texas, drink whiskey in your studio. Here, California, welcome to my hood.
This is really good
Wine.
stuff.
This is really great. We're known for our big reds, and Ponte's literally right next door. You could golf all that winery from my ranch.
San Giovese.
Yeah. So.
I never know if it's because people will tell you if you're wrong if it's Chianti or Chianti.
Yeah, that's Sangiovese. Sangi.
It's very good.
I think as long as everybody knows what you're saying it right.
I guess so.
I just take a picture of it so when I go home and I hold up in the wine store and go.
It's just like
they ship. No, they'll ship it and you can order it.
It's just like when I like to, talking about drinking whiskey. I'm not a big Scotch drinker, but I like the 18-year, and I messed this up. It's either Glenmorangie or Glenmorangie, and I've had people tell me it's both. I don't care as long as I'm drinking it. Doesn't matter. After a couple of glasses of it, I'm not saying a damn thing correctly.
I like Scotch. I'm a Scotch. Pete knows I'm a Scotch.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
See, I'm not like you, 18-year elitist scumbag like Chad Prather.
I got taste. Sophisticated culture. I'm suave and deboner.
I like the Balvenie is good, but I'll drink Glenlivet all day long.
Glenn's good. I go to Ireland a couple times a year, and we just got back in June. Steve and I are headed back. Party Foul and I are going back in a couple of weeks. And if you come through duty free there in the airport, they've got a 100-year-old. It's a 100-year-old. It's not that old, but it's old.
Is this Shannon Airport?
It's a Dublin.
Dublin. Okay.
It's Bushmills, and I'm sorry when I said 100, that's wrong. It's like a 20-year-old, but you can get it for $100 there. Here, if you can't buy it in America. If you came here and sold it to somebody, you could easily sell it for $200 because it's really high in demand. Yeah. I'm not a huge Bushmills drinker, but damn, that's some good stuff.
And the Green Spot.
The Green Spot. The Spot whiskeys are good from Ireland. I'm an Irish whiskey drinker, so very hard to find, but we found some last week. Green Spot, which is 10-year-old. Yellow Spot, which is 15-year-old. And the Red Spot, which is 20.
While we're talking about drinking, do you normally drink before you go on to do a show?
Yeah.
Is that loosen you up? Is there a limit? To drink limit?
Okay, so like last night.
How many drinks before you're like, I will fuck this show up if I get to?
Okay, so last week I did a show. And I know when it's like it's just too much. Like I started too early or I just got going too much. And I'm totally fine until I get on stage. And I don't think most people can tell it, but afterwards is when I really know where I was like, I was hammered on stage.
I can tell.
Yeah. You can
I've
tell.
seen 300 and something shows. I can tell.
Like, yeah, I was like, you get off and you're like, what the fuck did I say tonight? And I try not to get like that, but I like to have a couple just to relax. And last night I was going to have like none. Last night's show I was going to, and I had a couple, but I didn't have enough. Yeah. And so I'm backstage and I'm waiting to come on because it's this Freedom to Laugh tour. You got Michael Loftus, he comes on first, then Brian Hayner comes on, then Reno Collier, and then I come out at the end. And I was really unsure about what I wanted to do as a set list. And I never worry about set list. I just go out there and I just go. But this is a very specific show because you only have 25 minutes each on stage, which I'm typically used to doing an hour and a half, hour 40, and just I can put it all out there. And I was I felt my nerves rising up, and I was like, damn it, I didn't drink enough. I'm thinking too much. I'm in my head.
Yeah.
Because I never get in my head. I've never had stage fright. And last night wasn't stage fright. But I was in my head. And I don't like getting like that.
What's the biggest venue you've been in front of?
We did right at 4,000 people there at home, Grand Prairie, Texas. For a white dude doing comedy, yeah. We did 1,100 last week in Victoria, Texas. We'll be in a 1,400 seat venue tomorrow night in Indiana.
What's it like when you go up? I mean, Texas is big for you, but when you go up to like Tulsa, when you do the Tulsa show,
Tulsa's huge. Tulsa shows up. We just did Tulsa.
Are those just poor fuckers just starve for any like entertainment?
No, believe it or not,
because I just don't see a lot of people going there.
Tulsa is a pretty cool little town if you know where to go. There's good restaurants there. There's good bars. I love going to the Mayo Hotel, and there's a rooftop bar up there. We were there, 2 weeks ago, Steve? I love every show I do in Tulsa, and I do one a year. Crowd always shows up. And don't get me wrong, I hate Oklahoma. Because outside of Oklahoma City or Tulsa, that place is a shit show, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's a mess. And anybody from Oklahoma, I'm all for your Oklahoma pride, but you got to admit I'm telling the truth, right? But you go to Tulsa, they show up. They're always big-time supporters, and they come in there. And then we always have fun with stuff like that. But they bring a lot of music through and things like that. So, and then there's hockey. There's hockey in Tulsa.
And minor league baseball.
Minor league ball, yeah. It sure is. So, I don't know. People ask me all the time, what's my favorite place to go? Financially, it's California, believe it or not. Tonight will be my 15th and last show of 2019 in California. They always show up. These club shows we're doing, which are just a couple of them, last night, tonight, they're a little bit smaller in terms of crowd because the clubs don't promote very well, and plus we're doing conservative comedy, so they sure as shit don't really want to let anybody know.
But it just goes to show you, California has a lot of conservatives.
There's a ton.
And they're just not wearing T-shirts around town.
It's the most populated state, so even if a third of the people are your audience, that's 10 million people.
Well, you think about, we were just talking about wine. It's the number one state in the country for agriculture. From wine to weed. I mean, it's everything is here.
Avocado capital of the world is across the street from Temecula.
Do you know who owns all the majority of avocados in America?
Mr. Avocado?
We say avocado here, not avocado.
Avocado?
That's the Texas.
That's like growing up in Georgia.
Avocado.
I said pecans growing up in Georgia, and then I got to Texas, and I realized how dumb that sounded, so I started calling them pecans.
Yeah.
which sounds a little more sophisticated.
Pecans what Grandma kept under the bed, so you didn't have to go to the outhouse in the middle of the night.
You know, I used to think he was a knuckle dragger. Then he started pronouncing pecans.
Yeah. Then he got sophisticated.
And do you say pralines, pralines? How do you say it?
Pralines.
Pralines. Right?
Pralines.
I go between the two.
I go between the two.
Yeah.
But anyway, the avocados, the industry of avocado is owned in America by two people, Jamie Foxx and Tom Selleck.
Is that right?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? They're the two number one people that own the majority
avocado
of avocados.
barons.
Yeah, they're avocado barons.
Man, I got to get in with those guys.
But California, man, I'm telling you, it's legit. There's good people here. They just get screwed over by the bureaucracy. And this state exists to take your money. To take your money. I mean, the sheer fact that I can walk into a venue and do a show where my guarantee or something is, say, $20,000 in a night, which now, that's a great night. I mean, you walk out with 16 of that because so much of it went to taxes and stuff. They'll just pull it right out before you ever leave with the check. It's gone. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Gas prices high. These little shacks up and down the road here, $800,000 places. You can get
cheap ones.
It costs a lot of money for Sunny and 75 every day. This is what you get every day of the year.
Yeah.
It's
It's paradise.
Cool. Yeah.
There's a lot of great things about here. One of the things when you look at California too is we always brag about our economy, but we're on the coast and we have two of the three biggest ports in the nation here. Yeah. So money just shows up from the water every day. Mm-hmm. And it's real easy to say, hey, this is how you run an economy, but that's not true for Iowa. They got a land bridge going across, but everybody's going on 80. They're going 80 on 80, and they're not stopping once for gas, So to act like that there's some kind of special magical governmental formula is not true. It's just there's so much passive money that comes in regardless because China and Japan have to get their stuff in somewhere, and they're not going to go to Texas for that.
No, that's why we continue to get our cocaine and support the cartels. We're building the wall, but slowly, very slowly. Yeah. But you got Laredo, which is the largest inland port in America, there in South Texas, and Texas border, obviously, with its imports, as I alluded to, has its problems. But you're right. You take an Iowa, and I think that's why these Farm Belt, Rust Belt, Bible Belt states that are out there, they look at California like some wild anomaly. Why would you go out there? Why would you give those people anything? You're going to drink the water and go crazy. I mean, why would you do that? Because they have this perception of isolation. And Mark Twain, and I'm summarizing, Mark Twain said, nothing destroys prejudice like travel, and nothing destroys travel like prejudice. Yeah. In other words, you got to get out there and see how people really are. And if you come to... And you guys have been around the world. You know how that goes. You have this idea of how somebody in another place is going to be, and then you get there and you realize, oh, hell, rednecks everywhere. Mm-hmm. People are just people.
Yeah.
They just have different struggles,
and then
different
you can
cultural.
import rednecks if you just bring.
And that's why I bring Steve with me everywhere I go.
No rednecks are. I got Steve.
Yep.
that is true.
He's portable. He's like a Jack Russell Terrier.
We'll travel from.
Does he do that?
Yeah.
Do you have that chorus for Steve?
He is
where he's
loyal too, like a Jack Russell.
Remember when George Michael Sport Machine used to always show those Jack Russell Terrier highlights back before they were a thing?
Who did?
Right. George Michael, not that George Michael, the sportscaster guy, and he would show like a video highlight thing from sports. And they always had Jack Russell Terriers going across their little course, like through the tunnel, over the thing, and then inevitably one of the Jack Russells would be going over the steeple for the steeplechase part of it, and they'd clip a paw and then just roll and then get right back up and
keep
run.
Going.
Yeah,
they're like little rats. They really are. Speaking of George Michael, so people have often, and I don't adhere to this, but people have often likened me to a modern day Will Rogers, right? Well, if you go to Beverly Hills, you got the Will Rogers Park. At one point in time, Will Rogers was the honorary mayor of Beverly Hills before it was incorporated in any way. And so they built a park in his honor. Beautiful little park. We're out there. And they said, we want to take you to Will Rogers Park, show it to you. Beautiful little place. And we're out there walking around. Gorgeous day. Like you said, sunny 75. The fountains are going, the light breeze. And they said, hey, you see that bathroom right over there? That's where George Michael got caught sucking that dude's dick and got arrested. Yeah. And I was like, well, way to go ahead and ruin the Will Rogers Park for me. That sucks.
My girlfriend's wedding photos, back when she was married, they were taken right there by that bathroom. That was the bathroom they used on breaks. Yeah.
Nice.
Rust Belt, Bible Belt, Porn Belt. Right here. This episode
it really is
brought to you by
So I used to come
California
out.
Porn Industry.
I worked for a company for a brief period of time where their headquarters were out in Culver City. And and they'd bring you out. We'd go to dinner over in Venice, and they would always point out the restaurants. Now, if you go there on Sundays, that's where all the porn stars have brunch. And it's like who else gives you that kind of tour?
Yeah. That's a good tour. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
One of the things I'm fascinated by because of the work I've done and going out and talking to people, you do go to Iowa, you do go to Montana, right? You get all these different places and you get a sense for who we really are as a country. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously people are self-selecting to come see you, but sometimes it's because they hate whatever it is they think you are. Mm-hmm. So who are we? What are we across the nation?
Well, to the final point, to the last point you made right there, pretty much everybody that knows me, as best of my knowledge, likes me.
Yeah, right, of course.
It's the perception of people that you don't like. Like, I bet this guy's an asshole. He's probably an arrogant douche or whatever. And then you get to know him, and you're like, hey, he's probably a pretty all right guy. Like, if Barack Obama walked in the door, I have no doubt that Barack Obama would probably be friendly to you and shake your hand and blah, blah, blah. I don't like the guy because I don't like what he stands for.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's a nice enough guy, and you'd get along with him. But you take a place like Montana. All right, we were just in Montana. We did a show in Missoula.
Yeah.
And you think, Montana, man, that's got to be your people. We got more death threats going into Missoula, Montana.
Threats.
Yeah, because it's Montana-fornia over there. It's where they got the university there. A lot of California people have come over there. And we had an article that was written in an entertainment section of the paper there that talked about what a shame it was that they were having us into the town. Well, the trolls just jumped on there and just went nuts with it. Started threatening us, and we weren't worried about it because, I mean, here you got these, purple-haired beta males that weigh $1.08. We weren't really concerned.
Let's go iota. Let's not even go beta. Let's go further down the alphabet.
I think it worked against them, too, because it was a great show.
It was a great show. It was great promo. And then, I mean, here you got the venue. They're increasing security. I'm like, trust me, guys, we're fine. We're okay.
That sells tickets.
It sells a shit ton of tickets. But but you go to that and you're thinking, okay, Middle America, but is it Middle America? You can go to Dubuque. I had a show in Dubuque last year, and the promoter for that, we went out, had a drink afterwards, and she said, have you thought about changing the name of the tour? And it was, of course, the one-man deal that I do is Star Spangled Banter. And I said, why would I change the name? She said, well, because it's Star Spangled Banter. And I said, well, yeah, the national anthem it's a play on the Star Spangled Banner. She goes, yeah, you should change that. And I said, why? And she says, well, it's kind of patriotic and all that kind of stuff and the whole red, white, and blue thing. And I said, why is that a problem? She said, well, we're liberals, and we really don't, it's kind of offensive to us. We don't really like that. And I said, you're offended by the Star Spangled? And it's eye-opening when you get someone who's willing to come out and say, this sense of patriotism in Iowa is offensive to me in our side, because they've associated those kind of things in many ways with guys like myself who are outspoken, right-leaning, which, again, when it comes to social issues, I'm left-leaning. When it comes to fiscal issues, I'm right-leaning. At the end of the day, I want to be able to self-govern and people leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for anybody's gender reassignment. I don't want to pay, I just paid whatever, October 15th came around, I had to pay whatever it was in taxes that we had to pay. Good portion. It never crossed my mind to go, you know what? I don't think that's enough. I'm going to double it.
Yeah.
I'm going to double it so somebody can get, gender reassignment or free education or free health care or universal basic income. I don't want that. So people are going to look at me and say, well, you're just full of hate. You don't love people. No, I feel that way because I do care about people. And I see you're jeopardizing yourself.
It's a mind blower to think that Americans that fall under the umbrella live in the continental United States or Alaska or Hawaii, think just because I'm liberal, I can't be patriotic. I just can't do the math.
And let's face it, you're a Marine. So how many people? We were with one of our friends today, had lunch, and we were talking about how you assume that just because somebody is, quote, in the military, that they must have the same values as everybody else. They don't necessarily have that. You go into a latrine and they've written on the wall, we hate Bush. Bush sucks. Fuck Bush. And we're not talking about pussy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of mindset that just because somebody's serving the military or anything like that doesn't mean they agree with you. And that's why I tell people on stage all the time, everybody out there has their own version of patriotism. Now, they might be wrong.
Yeah.
And I like to make jokes about it because I have my version, and I'm sure in many ways that I'm wrong. But come on. The issue is we live in a great country, great freedoms. A lot of that we take for granted because we've never suffered anything. We've never been anywhere. We've never been to a third world country. We've never gone out there and seen face to face the horror, the persecution, the bloodshed, all of the things that are out there, from everything from genocide to warfare. And we sit here in a hotel room where they probably filmed porn, and we can talk shit about all
Does
of
that
it.
happen at Studio 22 after the lights go down?
No,
You can do like the whole.
I'm nervous
Glenn
because
would not like that.
I don't know
Studio
where
22 after hours.
after hours. I don't know when. I don't know where Glenn has cameras hidden. Like, that's a spooky dude, right? Anybody with that many conspiracies, like, that guy's watching it all. So when will this episode come out? Like, date-wise, how far out?
Let's say Thanksgiving.
Let's say Thanksgiving. Okay, so as of October 31st, Graham Allen, Rant Nation, Dear America, he's parted ways with the Blaze. Well, we share studio space, so that's a good idea. What we're going to do is, I think we're going to when we take in Graham's side of the room studio, we'll have some places. We'll
Lounge it out.
Unaware of that update.
We'll lounge it out. Yeah. Graham's taking off.
That would explain why his producers haven't invited me on the show.
Yeah. It's his choice. It's his choice.
Yeah, no.
It was his choice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's a vet.
He's peacing out, and Graham's a good dude. He'll always be a brother, but he's now that he's gone, I'll be happy to use his space. But I have a dressing room there that they're pimping out right now. That'll be a good shag and wagon right there.
Glenn's got cameras everywhere.
You know he does.
Yeah.
I had a friend tell me on Facebook, he said that patriotism was bad. And this guy's a veteran. Granted, he comes from Massachusetts, very, very left-leaning. But I'm like, wait, how can it be bad? He's like, well, being a patriot is good. Patriotism is bad because isms are bad. And I'm like, feminism?
Yeah.
I mean, botulism? Yeah, bad. Feminism, I thought that was good. I thought we were for the ladies and everything. And it's just this perception. So I started asking, I'm sure Scott's heard me say it, like, I'm trying to understand what patriotism is, Like, so Steve, what does patriotism mean to you? Like, good, bad, whatever?
Yeah, it's good. I think it brings people together, not more than dividing people.
Right.
It's,
I used to do another show, a technology show, and I had someone come on the show, and they're originally from another country, and they were so proud of it, and they would talk down like, oh, in this country, we would only do this. But they came here for the opportunity. Yeah. And I'm like, you're here. Yeah. You can love your old place. That's great, but you're here because of the opportunity. And I just don't understand, like, this whole thought that we're anti-immigrant, that we're anti-chaos and crime and all those kind of things, but fuck, my favorite American, I say this all the time, it's the next one. Like, you want to risk everything to come here? Mm-hmm. Well, then fucking come on. I don't care. I don't care about anything else.
I've never heard you say that. My favorite American is the next one.
Yeah.
That's why I've never
Mark
met.
Twain quote you had was great too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I grew up in the state of Georgia. My family's still there. I'll always love the state of Georgia. But I left the state of Georgia for a reason. I get away from the family business of meth. I just, but seriously,
which all leads to porn.
It does, it really does. Toothless porn. But I wanted to move to Texas. There were reasonable benefits for me to come. And I knew that if you move to Texas, you have to embrace some things to be Texan. I mean, these Texans, they love being Texans more than being Americans a lot of times.
Amen.
So it's wild. So for me, I had to forsake some things of the place that was home for me that I loved in order to embrace the new place where I was living. And that's the thing about assimilation and coming into this country. You can't come into this country as a refugee and continue to embrace and hold on to Sharia law and also embrace the Constitution, because they violate each other. They're diametrically opposed. They're contradictory. Same with coming in, if you're coming in from El Salvador, Guatemala, or wherever you're coming up here, you have got to come in and assimilate. That's why I always tell people I've never met a conservative. Never. I've met plenty of bigots, but I've never met a true conservative with integrity who was anti-immigration. Because like you said, it's the next one. Yeah. I love it. I want you all to come.
Yeah.
I want you all to come, but I want you to come the right way. And I heard a lady from Guatemala recently she had called in and she was talking to one of the talk shows, and she had come in and become a citizen. And they said, well, we appreciate how hard you had to work to do that. And I know it took you time and money, and it was difficult. And she said, no, compared to where I came from, it wasn't hard at all.
Yeah.
She said, I was glad to do it. And I think that's the mindset.
Yeah.
Hey, grab that other bottle of
And
wine, Stevie.
Chad's always throwing big words around in front of me too, like diametrically assimilate, and then Guatemala. I'm like, and I always be like, yeah, I read a book once too. Like, he always tries to,
There's an opener by that black backpack over there.
You bring me the opener, and I'll open that sumbitch up. I'll Mater D your ass. I love it. Now,
Hey, let's talk about the shows real quick, just
Right there
this
by that.
episode, so people know.
I'm
also,
pointing right at it.
down on the ground.
You love veterans, obviously.
Sure.
But just so all the listeners know this, is that Chad gives free tickets to veterans to shows. It's just something he does to support me and Save the Brave. And, I want to say that publicly because it's important. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to do this, or I'd like to donate, I'd like to give. But just by making that, offer, I think and the guys that go to the show, the majority of them, 99.9%, they love it. And I've gotten so many texts from dudes like, hey, thanks for the opportunity. And Chad was great. And
Hell yeah.
But, I think if we could infuse more of that in the entertainment industry, I think that would be something really cool, because it doesn't cost anything really.
I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to give back in certain ways.
Yeah.
And so, like we've constantly done things like made tickets available to bigger shows, to places like Vet Ticks.
Yeah.
Where they give away a bulk of ticks.
There's people willing to, hey, I don't know what to do, but I'll buy this guy a ticket so he can go see a show.
Vet Ticks is great. I use it all the time as a veteran to get a ticket.
Yeah.
And we go to shows all the time. I bug Scott. I'm like, let's go do some classical music. And he's like, no. But
I did not say no. I mean, I'm not as cultured as Prather, but I'm not diametrically opposed to fucking seeing that. But did I use that in the right context?
Yeah, you did.
Damn, great.
But Vet Ticks is great, and that is a great place.
You could have left the diametrically off, and we would have known.
You should up him and go try it.
This wine is diametrically delicious.
It really is. I hate to see that bottle go.
It's Guatemalan.
Let's see what this tastes like. Hang on.
But back to your patriotism thing, it's up to us
Yeah.
to raise patriots.
Yeah.
And I do a pretty good job of it.
Nice.
I got two in the Army, and then another one that's military family. So
what does someone do, like, if they're not, look, the military deserves a lot of criticism. I mean, you have to deal with a lot when you go there, and maybe people don't want their babies to go. There's a lot of conflict. Like, all of a sudden the left has become war crazy. Like, we've got to be in the northern part of Syria.
We got to be in Syria.
Got to be there. Like, well, holy shit, we got Kenton Stacy who doesn't have enough support, and he's a quadriplegic with one eye and no voice.
Yeah.
So, cool, all us warriors will go there, but like, people don't want their kids to go through that stuff. So how does someone who's like, I just do not want my kid to go to the military, how do they support the country? How do they teach their kids to give back and be patriots?
I don't know that I ever did anything to, like, raising the kids to make them want to join the military. I never really talked about my time in the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. My son just came home one day and said, Dad, I want to join the Army. It's going to help pay for college. Boom. He went in the Army, and he's 5 years in now. So.
Good for him.
That's awesome.
Back to your point, Scott, and I appreciate you bringing that up about the shows, because I grew up in a military family, although I was not in the military. 9/11 happens. I think it fundamentally changed how we viewed our world. We realized that there are evil forces out there that want to destroy us.
Yeah.
We watched firsthand, live on television, the tragedy that went on, and everybody, I think, at that point knew that from going forward, something in this country had changed, and there were going to be men and women who were going to be, taking care of business, who were going to be going overseas, who were going to be serving, who were going to be sacrificing, giving their lives for liberty, and there were those of us who at that point in time were a little bit older, had children at that point. Like, how can we give back? What can we do? And I said, well, we can support in any way possible. We can work with organizations that, you got active duty military that are on deployment, and the wife or the husband's back home and the basement floods, and they don't have the money to fix that. And this guy's in Afghanistan. What do you do? Work with organizations that are going to help. And I think when you do those kind of things, and your kids, the next generation, see your own sense of not generosity, but just your own sense of compassion towards those people who have given so much, I hope that it's contagious, because I think there's certain things that are contagious, like giving. Yeah. I think, you smile at somebody, they smile back. It's one of those things that it comes back to you. And you hope that doing things like that are
I think
that
those
makes a
things are
difference.
happening more than we know. They just and because the majority of people are very humble, they don't want any acknowledgement or recognition for it. I'd love to see more great news stories. The end of the news segment is like, hey, here's our happy moment of the day. Like, David Muir does that to a degree, at the end of every show. But I think that's happening. I would love to share more of that. Just to, you always wonder like how many of those great things are happening, because if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. And I would prefer to see that type of news, but there's like you and others like Jay Moore, who's a dear friend of the show and a dear friend of ours,
and also a ticket giver.
And also a ticket giver. I gotta like it's hard to keep up with that, managing and calling, make sure everybody gets a show, and like, hey, don't forget to do this. And
it is a lot.
It is, but
get a hold of me, Pete A. Turner, or Scott Echo Ramadi, and we will get you the tickets for today's shows.
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here, and if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
Get a hold of me, Pete A. Turner, or Scott Echo Ramadi, and we will get you the tickets for Jay shows.
Yes, absolutely.
And Chad won't toot his own horn, but we travel nonstop. We're in airports all across the country. And
hold on, did you say that out loud? Chad won't toot his own horn.
He will toot his own
Here's
horn.
how I
but
say
Watch
it.
Chad.
I'm the most vain. Listen, here's my philosophy in life. He who tooteth not his own horn remains in a perpetual state of untootedness. Okay?
But back to what I was saying, give me a minute. There's not an airport bar that we go into that if there's a guy in uniform that's drinking a beer or eating a meal, that Chad doesn't pick up his tab.
Yeah.
Never says a word to him other than, thank you for your service, but doesn't tell him we leave the bar, and that guy, when he gets done eating, his tab's paid for.
But what's amazing to me is how many times you do that in a restaurant or an airport or whatever, and the waitress or the waiter or the bartender says, it's already been taken care of.
Yeah,
Somebody else
right.
took care of it. And that's what I love to hear, is that somebody else is doing
We did that with we were in Fort Worth, and we were at a bar, and it was lunchtime, and a bunch of police officers, when they're eating lunch, big table, and Chad went to try to pick up the tab and said somebody else already did.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But on the flip side, I was having lunch with a guy, business lunch one time, and there were a dozen cops that came in and went into the back room there and kind of had a secluded area. And I told the waitress, I said, would you just secretly just grab their check before I get out of here and bring it to me? And so I could tell that this business guy, he's having, he was going to buy the lunch, right? Because we were talking business and stuff. I could tell he was kind of concerned. And so, he goes, well, I guess I got about 12 other guys lunch today. And I was like, no, dickhead. I'm doing it.
No,
but what a douche.
That's probably what I would have said. I've been like,
Party foul, like, since he was a veteran, he goes, here's a coupon.
Party foul's like, hey, you want my check?
At the soft serve next door.
Chad picks up my bar tab every night, and I promise you, even at a airport bar, I'm $100 an hour.
He really is.
So for me to drink at a bar, I'm $100 an hour.
Oprah says ask for a discount at point of sale.
Yeah.
So just, and
Yeah.
Applebee's 19 discount code works
2
everywhere.
for 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't IHOP do like free meal on Veterans Day or something?
Yeah.
But and you brought up a good point.
And every day is Veterans Day, right,
Yeah.
Mr. IHOP?
Scott, you brought up a good point about veterans. They're not out there looking for a handout. They're, John Wayne Walding, he said on my podcast recently, subscribe to the Chad Prather Show. He said, we're not looking for handouts. We're not looking for anything for free. They're just looking for opportunity. Give them opportunity. And so I think that's true, because how many times do you go, I think and I want to say this without sounding trite or condescending, but the thank you for your service thing, while good and responsible, and I think in many ways necessary, it's maybe overdone to the point of it's somewhat lost its meaning. Like there's a lot of times
Kind of hallmarky now.
It really kind of is, and
we made
most
it
of
that way. I think.
And most veterans will come out and they'll say, "No, I want to do it again." Because, here you are, you go into the service, you have these guys that you bleed, sweat, and die with, and you sacrifice, and you lose, and you live together, and then all of a sudden you're pulled out of that community, and you're like, so many of them are like, I want to go back into that. I miss that. And so for me, if I'm getting on an airplane and I see somebody in uniform, or if I'm in the airport, a lot of times I'll just kind of walk past them and just bump them on the shoulder. They know what I'm talking about. Yeah. They know what I mean. Appreciate you, fist bump, something like that, because I do appreciate it. But it's not one of those, hey, you're serving me. It's so much larger than that. And if the least that I can do is make available a ticket to a silly show so they can come out and have a couple of beers and forget themselves for an evening.
Yeah. That's the beauty of what you do in entertainment, and guys, like you giving of yourselves and just offering some free tickets, because in the veteran space, we're always talking about helping the guys that are most severely affected, whether it's post-traumatic stress or maybe they're missing a limb, and we got to go do all these big things, but just making someone laugh, getting them out of their house with their wife or their girlfriend or their boyfriend, I don't know, in some cases, to Chad shows.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Exactly. That's gone. But
you talking Navy here? What?
The number of emails I get when that happens, just say like, dude, we totally needed that. Like, it was such a great show. We laughed our dicks off. And
but I want to say this too. So yes, a lot of people already help, but for those who aren't sure where to help, Save the Brave is our official show sponsor. We're partnered together. I'm sitting with the president. So here's what I would say is, if you guys have any kind of subscription, you're like, I've got that 24-hour fitness and everything, just transfer that to Save the Brave. Go to savethebrave.org, hit donate, put $20 in there. A $20 a month subscription.
I loved how you said it on the shows this week too. What would you spend $20 on a month? Would you buy a veteran lunch once a month? $25. Absolutely.
So
we've
easy.
helped hundreds of veterans, and taking a guy out for a half day fishing trip, which is just one of the things we do, costs like $750 just for a half day for one guy, and we bring like 15 or 20 on the boat. Yeah, I don't do math in public, but it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Guatemala.
It's a lot of Guatemalan shekels.
I know organizations, which we won't mention here, but I know organizations and guys that run them that they bring these guys and gals with PTSD out for week-long intensives. It costs them $2,600 to $3,000 to bring them through. They don't charge a dime to the veteran to do that. It's all through donations. There's a lot of those that are out there. I know that I sign up and give. It comes out of my account. I don't even know what it's coming out of the account. It's just a residual thing.
I do the same
comes
thing,
out.
like 5.
I don't even. Yeah, I do a ton of them, and I'm like, I look at it, and I'm like, I don't even notice that it comes out of because I'm blessed. I am blessed. I have been fortunate enough to do what I love and to be blessed financially by doing it. And, I've always believed in that concept of giving back. I mean, God, if you want corn, you got to plant corn. I love money. I'm a full-on capitalist, man. So that's one of the things where I believe that I can't just take it and be like Silas Marner and, dig my gold up every night and run my fingers through through it and then bury it again and be greedy, because then you're going to die of a heart attack one day and the gold's still in the ground. Hasn't done anything. So I think that's you like that Silas Marner?
I thought you were going to go Scrooge McDuck on me, but that's all right.
It's kind of the same thing.
Kind of the same principle. Kind of the same principle. But no, that's where I'm at, man. I when it comes to here's the beauty of it. When it comes to vets and active duty military first responders, when it comes to children, I'm all in, 100% all in. When it comes to active duty and veterans and their children, I'm seriously all in. Yeah. Because that's where the rubber meets the road right there. Because these parents come home, they still have, I should just say, these military individuals come home, they still have families that depend on them. Yeah. They have these children, they have this next generation that are coming along, and they deserve to have everything as far as I'm concerned.
You think about this. And primarily, most of my service was as a civilian, right? I mean, I've got Army time and it's legitimate, but most of my 70-plus months in combat time, my daughter didn't have a dad who was home.
That's right. That's right.
And, you could be like, oh, you were a civilian. Yeah, well, there goes the sacrifice right there. My daughter pays that price, and no one ever thanks her.
And I relate to that as a father of 5 who lives on the road all the time. Now, granted, my kid's a little bit older now. We've built a system that works for us as a family. We spend quality time together. We create quality time together. But again, when you're deployed for 9 months out of the year, and your wife or husband's back home with the kids, and that's a real sacrifice. Yeah, and it's not just the service person who's making the sacrifice. It's the kid at home.
Yeah, I've never seen my kid play like in a rec league anything.
Right,
never seen it.
Right,
it's a heavy sacrifice.
My grandson just went 9 months without his dad.
Yeah.
So while he was in Germany.
And now he's back off again
Yep.
for another, 3 months?
Yeah, no, he just got back from that.
Did he?
Oh,
So-
jeez.
Your daughter's going to be so pregnant here. In about
Yeah, I
6
know.
weeks.
We're going to be expecting another. And then the other daughter, her husband's in the Navy, and he's gone all the time too. So
Sure.
she's got two
That's so
babies. So
true.
their
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
sacrifices are being made all the way, all the way through.
All around. And it's
Steve,
easy to
Party,
say that.
Party Foul's got a pretty hot daughter. He's got beautiful kids, but he's got a pretty hot daughter. And I saw her. She came to one of our shows the other week, and they visited for a little while. I said, "Are you pregnant again?" And she's like, "Why would you ask me that?" And I said, "Well, your husband just got back after 9 months of being." I'm like, "If you were mine, you'd be pregnant. It wouldn't be from a lack of trying. I can tell you that. Hand me that wine. I'll tell you more."
Got it.
I'm waiting for the news any day. So
Yeah.
I'll
That's
make some
funny.
more
No,
inappropriate comments about Steve's kids here. Give us some more.
Yeah, have some more booze.
Pour some wine.
Oh, that's
So let me ask you about the
fantastic wine.
comedy part, because we've already thanked veterans a lot already. So let's
I don't like veterans for real though.
you seem so natural with your style. Do you work out set like a lot of guys around here? They go to the improv and they just work out stuff. I've seen, gosh, all of them.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia is always out working on new things. All kinds of famous people are like, I've always wanted to try stand up. Like Mark Valley's a friend of the show. He's like, I want to do stand up because it's
Mark
just
does?
it's just
No
out of his
shit.
grasp, and he can do it. He's done one man plays and all that stuff. But this is a workshop where you can openly do that. Does that work for you?
No, it probably would have had I been able to take that route and do it. But I always used to say it's like I want to do comedy. I want to do comedy. I want to do comedy. And people just kind of laugh at you because I've never been a joke teller. I'm more witty,
Right.
And so I play off of other people, and I'm a good storyteller. So I can add humor into the deal. So to this day, I still don't think of myself as a true comic or a comedian. And anytime I get around true comics and they watch me do an hour on stage, they'll even say, "Yeah, no. I mean, there's some comedy mixed in there,
Yeah.
but you're funny."
Right.
Don't get us wrong, but you're not doing true comedy, right?
Your Wikipedia says American satirist.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Like, hey, do you know my friend Chad? He's a satirist. Like, what?
He's like Irma
I don't
Bombeck.
fucking roll that way,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
He's an anal rapist.
back before you were doing stuff on stage, you used to tell me, you would say, one of these days I'm going to hire you. I would laugh at him. He was because it was funny. I was like,
Well, I
what?
had a comedian friend of mine who said, "Hey," because I just know how to turn a phrase, right, and put it in a way where people are like, "Well, damn, that was funny the way you said that." Was it a joke? No, it's just funny the way you said it. And so I had a friend of mine who said, "Just get on stage and do it." And I said, "Well," he goes, "It doesn't matter as long as you're buying tickets." At the end of the day, then we turned around and sold out 45 cities.
Come on.
And blew it up. And so the rest is history, It's just one of those aspects of having the gift of gab. What I wish I had more of, Pedro, is more time to sit down and write and create, and that's on me because you can either control your schedule or your schedule's going to control you. And I'm guilty of the latter quite often because I'm a hustler. I like to go.
Is there any comedy though that you want to do? Like,
Yeah,
you're like,
I love this question.
This doesn't really fit my normal repertoire,
Right.
which means style. Or,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Guatemala.
That's
I
my
love it when
smart
Marines
word
try
for
to
it.
interpret
Ray,
French
that's
words.
my
And then they got to tell each other, like, I interpreted this word.
break it
word for the
down
day.
for me.
Yeah, but like, is there something
Barney
a
style.
bit you do, or do you do impersonations?
No, I don't.
You do sound effects.
I do a little bit. I do jackleg impersonations where people can at least go. I
What's a jackleg impression?
just where you're close to it, but like I've never really worked on it.
That's when I do my Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy Pelosi, who's praying for the president every single day, and I just love America, and I'm a patriot, and I'm late for a dentist appointment, and I really wish somebody would give me a few rails so I could do some cocaine.
You got to use your finger and point a little more.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the woman can't keep her teeth in her mouth, and I love that, So just that kind of that jackleg stuff. But I incorporate music with the comedy. I'm just good enough to be dangerous when it comes to a guitar and being able to sing. And I do a lot of parody music and some stuff that I've written. So we incorporate that, but it's a lot of times I wish that my public stage stuff could be a little bit more blue, but I built a brand of not being that way because you know me. I'll sit around with you guys and make jokes like, yeah, my personal pronouns are now fuck you. Like I can't say that on stage.
Right.
I can't do that. In some crowds I might can get away with it.
Yeah.
But like to me, that's funny, and you could develop that. But then I get the messages the next day where people are like, "Oh, well, we came to your show and we were so disappointed because you mentioned the word penis. Oh my God,
I'm glad my mother's hard of hearing for the show in Victoria.
But you take the show.
But she had a great time.
I mention the word, in a typical hour-long set, I'll mention the word penis once. I'll mention the word vagina in reference to a vagina hat once. I'll mention the word foreskin once, and they're all in the same realm of what I'm talking about.
You ever get throw a labia in there or anything?
No, but
inner, outer, either one.
But I had a lady last week who sent me a message about that Victoria show, and she said your entire thing was about sex, and I'm like, my wife even said, I've never heard you say anything about sex.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so it's funny because humor is all perceptive.
You made mention of throwing your back out while trying to get to sex.
I said, because I do this thing about, every now and then I'll do a bit about, I'm not old, I'm just getting older. Like I threw my back out 6 months ago trying to put a T-shirt in the drawer. 9 months ago I threw my back out trying to have sex. I wasn't even having sex. I was trying to get to the sex.
You're putting on your rubber.
You roll over and you're like, oh my God. And then I talk about, and then I give examples of what it's like to be older but not old. Like you can still masturbate, but it gives you heartburn. And so there's just true. So there's things like that I like I've always said, I'm not going to push you over the edge, but with stuff like that, I'll show you the edge. And then you can take it as far as you want to go.
But people hear that's what they focused in on. They honed in on that, so that's what they pulled from that show.
Like from me on stage to them, that's a dirty joke.
Yeah.
It's not a dirty joke. But to them, coming out of my mouth,
some of your parody songs are, there's 27,000 genders.
27,000 genders, and, I don't know how to pick one. Is that girl my daughter? Is she really just my son? And then we talk about, if Caitlyn Jenner went missing, I'd pull out the carafe, and we'd put her manly picture on a bottle of half and half.
Yeah.
So, that's not nasty. Yeah. That's not crude.
It's just funny.
Do. It's just, it's just a play on words. Yeah, well,
I think talking about Nancy Pelosi's would be more crude.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, his Nancy Pelosi jokes are pretty funny.
Party Foul was like Googling like young Nancy Pelosi, hot, and like him jacking off to that hotel room.
She was sort of hot when she was young.
Steve, what are you doing? She probably was. What do you think?
Yeah, I bet she
No, she was.
A number. Yeah, I bet so.
I've seen her. She was pretty hot when she was young.
Here's the thing with like Nancy Pelosi. If you run the House or you run the Senate, I promise you can take a joke. Mm-hmm. I mean, because look, both of those people are knife-wielding fighters, and they will fucking cut you. Yeah. Like, shit doesn't get through the House and the Senate because they say so. So everybody, you can make jokes at her expense. It's fine. She can totally take it.
She can take it because she's full of shit. The only thing more full of shit than Nancy Pelosi are the streets around her house.
God damn. I can't. Yeah.
San Francisco is
I go all,
well,
I
that
go all
being
the time.
said, Donald Trump can take jokes. He loves it.
Oh, yeah.
He's a comedian, dude.
Yeah.
Trump's a freaking comedian. That's what pisses people off because he says these things and people don't understand that that's his sense of humor.
He's playing.
And they're like, how dare the president of the United States say these things? I'm like, God, if you relax.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath here. He doesn't really mean it when he tweets about his great and unmatched wisdom.
Yeah. Right. He's clearly making a joke.
Well, the thing I take into consideration is he's a 71-year-old man. Yeah. Like, when you get to that age, you also lose a little bit of inhibition and filter. So
Joe Biden was talking about a fucking record player during the debates the other day. Record player. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You gotta play that record player at night when you.
He did a little Marine Corps shuffle out of the bus yesterday. So I'm like, hey, Joe's fit.
Yeah,
not fit.
Well, it's like, if you see every time you see Elizabeth Warren, she's always running, leaning forward, and she's always waving. She's got that hand, just running.
So full of energy.
Yeah. Just never, so full of energy. But
I can't wait for 4 years of that.
Oh my God. Hillary's going to run.
No.
Yeah. Oh, she's going to run. I've been saying it for 8 months. I'm telling you. Now all the pundits are on it. All of them are saying it.
So?
She came out last week and said that if there's
a box of rubbers that she doesn't.
I got one of these. The whole,
I've got a rubber in my pocket I've had since the 7th grade.
Let's produce it.
That thing will turn to dust.
It's used, too. It's like, I've been using the same
You can reuse it.
Wash and rinse.
Roll it back up.
Like when that
Turned it
douchebag
inside
used to
out.
have to be washed out.
Okay, let me ask y'all a question.
Please do.
This is telling. All right, this is personal. So, what is the worst rubber story you've got in your life? Like, we've all, when we were kids, you're like, oh my God, I just got to have a woman, So here was my dad's sex talk. Here was my dad's sex talk, start to finish. I was 13 years old.
I thought you were asking us a question.
I'm going to, but I just want to make a point.
At Watch Chad.
At Watch Chad.
Listen to Chad.
Subscribe.
Watch Chad.
Send the hate mail to Chad@watchchad.com.
My father said to me, we were driving down the interstate on I-20 in South Carolina. He said, don't have sex before you get married. But if you get to a point where you got to have a woman, use a fucking rubber. Don't be like your brother and knock everything up in the southeast. And I was scared.
Advice.
I was scared of my dad, so that's what I did. But how many times have you ever been in a situation where you're like, I don't have a rubber. I don't have a rubber. Did you think, okay, screw it, I'm just going to do it? And devil beware, here it comes? Or did you ever improvise?
Nope, I just did it.
You just did it.
I just
Never
did it. That's why I had
improvised.
kids.
Let me tell you, a Ziploc bag.
No.
It's kind of thick.
It is. But when
Was
you
it a
let me tell you, it
snack-
don't
snack
matter. When you're
bag?
16 years old.
Was it one of
man,
them little thin
Freezer or
skinnies?
or regular? Because
Yeah.
No,
Freezer bags
back
look
then,
thick. You can probably
you
go
didn't have
forever.
that
that's
back
like regular
then.
rubber.
three
You didn't
gallon.
have the freezer bags. It was all Ziploc. You just stick your dick down in the corner of that sucker and go to work, man.
Like a Glad sandwich bag.
Yeah. When you're like 17 years old, you're like, screw it. It ain't going to take but a second
Sandwich
anyway.
bags are pretty thin, so
Yeah.
I drank and drove one time to
Waiting
go buy a
for
condom to have
sensitivity.
sex. So I'm like,
Yeah.
good thing, bad thing. Good thing, back. I better go make this drive. You know?
Yeah. Look, I'm going to have sex, so I'm
Yeah.
willing to risk the DUI.
Right.
I think when my son was 12 or 13 at that age, I just went and bought a box of condoms and I kind of threw them. I said, read these instructions. One of these days you're going to need
You're
this.
a hell of a dad.
So, hey, so far so good.
Reservoir tip.
Yep.
No shit, there I was, the Polish princess and I having sex, and the condom rolls up and is gone. No one has any idea. She don't know, I don't know until the end. And I'm like, there's no condom here. And she's like, oh my God. And it was great because I'm like, what am I going to do now if I want to have this Polish baby? And she's like, I'm going to get the pill. Are you what? I'm like, good enough. Shutting up. Great. I'll pay.
I was
That
having
was
sex
scary.
with this girl like that, and I lost it in her.
Yeah.
I lost it in her, and like we fished around in there trying to see if we could pull it out, but we couldn't find it. Finally, the following day,
Was it between
So
the
your
car
other
seats?
cousin came in and helped.
like 30 hours later, where she's like, I swear it's still in there. So we fished around in there again and finally got it out, but it was in there for like 30 hours.
Yeah. Crazy.
That was a hell of a
Just making babies.
hell of a night at the beach.
Like effervescent tablets.
That was
just
just-
shooting out
that is
wad.
Slow release.
I wonder what all the
Swordfish,
women.
yes.
What's your demographic of female listeners? What they're going to be thinking of this? Like those sons of bitches.
yeah, mine's huge.
Those
I got-
rubber losing sons of bitches.
Hey, at
we've
least
all
I
done-
had the courage to say it. Some guys would probably be like, I don't know what happened. I'll see you later. You know?
Look, I got a lot of adventures when it comes to stuff like that over the years. I mean, I was an athlete and all this stuff and had. And
Baseball, right?
yeah, it just was what it was. I mean, I got a lot of adventures that are out there, but yeah.
I want
Some
one
stuff's
imitation from you before we wrap this
What
thing
you
up.
got?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. And here's the thing. I'm going to teach you a comedy trick. You can always put another imitation in front of it. So you can do like Donald Trump doing Nancy Pelosi. It's your version
Oh,
of
yeah,
that,
that's
you know.
good,
So you can always do that. So it doesn't have to call it jackleg.
But
It's just that.
he has so many of his own characters that
Oh,
when he's filming
characters.
Humor Me,
Scott and I
that
love
he
characters.
has.
We do. Me and Pete are about to bust out some scripted puns.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna- like we've
Sketch is where
got.
it's
Pete
at,
has a
man.
genius character. We don't do the reveal yet.
No, don't
Right.
tell it. Don't
Yeah,
tell it.
we'll do it
'cause
after
I
the
will
show.
steal it so hard.
Yeah.
I will. But no, I've got I do Traeger DeBose. Traeger, you know, I put the teeth in, the Bubba teeth, and he's my cousin from down in the trailer park, and you know, everybody talking about making the world green. Well, hell, we've been green in the World Trailer Park forever, man. You come in here and green me $65, I give you a bag full of green. And then we got Beverly Wall, who's a transvestite. And I'm not a woman. I am a man, but I will take you out in the yard and kick your ass and show you how much of a man I am. And that's weird because she's got her nails painted and the whole thing. I think and then we've got
Uncle
the
Larry.
Reverend, we've got the
Reverend Swindle.
we got the Reverend Swindle, which is fun. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just like
that was a good one.
every evangelist you've ever seen. And then Uncle Larry. Oh, party foul Steve. I'll kick his ass. But that one I put latex face on
Yeah.
the whole thing. And then we
I can't
you
even
go
be around.
deep,
I
man.
go
Those
deep.
are I've seen those on YouTube.
I
man.
can't
Those
be
are
around
deep.
him when he goes in
Steve
character.
will go
'cause
sit down
I'll
the street. He can't be around like when Uncle Larry, the latex is on and stuff. And I'm like, where the fuck is Party Foul Steve? I swear to God, if I ever find that long-haired motherfucker, I'm gonna kick his ass. And so
He'll stay in character the whole
won't come out
time.
of
He
it.
won't come out of it. And even in between takes, he stays in character.
And then we have investigative reporter Chad Prather coming to you live from the
Clooney compound right here in beautiful Beverly Hills.
I kind of like him.
Yeah. I mean, that just goes off the rails with stuff. Glenn Beck loves that one. I'm going to do a full episode of the news and why it matters one day. It's Tapafafafalus.
Does Glenn Beck do impersonations?
Oh, hell no.
I'll have to come on and I'll do Solomon with you. You'll do that. I'll do Solomon. I'll show you Solomon later on. All in care, and we won't let him know.
No, that'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
Underneath it'd be like at Solomon loves you. You know, and you can.
We do that stuff and every now and then I'll do a Bernie. You know, you ever notice Bernie's got his hand out here, but he's pointing to Bernie doesn't know. Like, here's the deal: you can have the DNC. You have the DNC. What I'm going to need another house in the Hamptons and a best-selling book. You know,
You're going to start having to grasp your chest while you're talking and doing that.
It's like, you know, screw it. They took the DNC from me. They ripped it out from under me in 2016.
Hey, speaking of books, this is a revelation.
We're working
coming out.
Chad's working in the writing field. He's got a potential book coming out. I don't even know if we should say the title now, but
well, it's a working title. Am I crazy? Because you can sum up every video I've ever done, all of my comedy, everything I've ever done with one question.
Watch Chad.
I like that.
Thank you.
We'll put that in parentheses. But
hey, Chad, I thought the book was going to be called "Am I Crazy?" Nah, we thought Read Chad would be better.
Read Chad.
At Read Chad.
And then we'll do an audio book. It'll be Listen to Chad.
Masturbate to Chad. Color by Chad.
There's so many things.
Chad.
There are so many things that if I knew years ago how big things were going to blow up on social media, that I would not have incorporated into stuff that I do, like putting a Facebook poke at the end of the truck videos or doing the Watch Chad thing. But it was that's back when hashtags were everything.
Everything.
And so I was like, what's a simple and concise hashtag? And it just popped into my head one day, like early on, Watch Chad. And so it stuck.
You had another one, Smile.
Smile. We always did the smile.
Hashtag Smile.
And that was the thing. And then that just got dorky. And so it's all dorky at this point.
But I like it that you're writing, because I think written word is important. You can include so much in an hour podcast or a YouTube video or a tweet, but writing that book that really allows you to really pull the thread on all of those things where you could only say it in a 3-minute video. There's much, much more to say than a 1,000-word op-ed. So all those things too, I think that's important. So that's
the beauty of it is when people read the things, if they go to politicalcowboy.com and they read any of my blog posts or whatever, and then read that stuff, it's funny because people always come back and they say, we hear you we read it in your voice. We hear it like you're saying it to us, like the videos. And so I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. And,
at Watch Chad on Instagram and everywhere else, and
Party Foul Nation.
Party Foul Nation, get some good gear.
I'll also co-host the Matlock Show on Fridays, Beer for Brunch.
Yeah, our buddy Matty.
So that's
Matt's been on the show, and that's been happening.
Did you guys hear about the new beer that Sam Adams came out with? That's 28%.
I'd love
28, per volume.
Yeah, and they're bottling it in a stein.
Volume.
In a stein, big stein. So that's how it comes.
The moonshine of beers.
Love it. And then Echo and Ramadi.
At Echo and Ramadi, and Save the Brave.
Save the Brave. Seriously, do that.
We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to get back down to Texas. We didn't make it. We were in Missouri at the same time. We didn't link up, but always great getting together. We're going to the show tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait.
This hang. We could be on the air for another hour, but easily, guys, man. Thanks for that.
Hey, it's end of the year. Donate your money. Save the Brave. SaveTheBrave.org.